A record 12 straight win in the Convocation Center. You can start us off on opening statement.
Well, that's a pretty good statement to start off with. Just a record-breaking win, obviously, for our players, and just thinking that, kind of to put it in perspective, and we talked about this in the locker room yesterday, just, you know, that we had a chance to reach the total number of wins that we had last year, and it's February 1st. It's pretty remarkable. Super proud of everyone that's involved in the program. I think this was a really big win. Really, really big win, because, you know, you come off of a loss, and invariably in all my years of coaching, like, it's hard sometimes to not let one turn into two. And we fought through it today. I mean, bottom line, it wasn't the prettiest game we've ever played, but a very, very gutty performance.
18 wins, tied for fourth most all time, and we've got 10 games left in the season. Nina, is this kind of what you envisioned when you decided to transfer here?
If I'm being honest, no. But once we started practicing, I was like, this team is special. Like, this team can do a lot of things. Once I saw how mature most of the young ones are, I just knew that, like, we could do great things.
There are 15 points, 9 rebounds. The Convos crowd was the biggest we've seen it this season. It's the biggest we've seen it in a non-doubleheader in quite some time. How much do you feed off that energy?
I think that it's everything for me, and I think for our team as well. I think that just hearing the crowd and, like, hearing the encouragement we get, and just, like, not just hearing it, but seeing how many people come out and support us and are rooting for us and want us to be successful, I think that means the world to us, and I think it motivates us more to play even harder.
Coach, I think the question on everyone's mind is, did you draw up that Cheyenne Rose step back three that got smart everything?
Absolutely. And when she shot it and hit it, you know, she threw up the three summer, like, it was just an everyday thing. So
She been doing that in practice, though. She been doing that in practice.
She sure does.
I wasn't surprised.
How hard is it in practice to work on situations like that where the ball just falls to you and the shot clock's going down?
It's hard. I mean, that's just the fact that she had the presence to get the shot off, because we had a couple of situations today, because their defense was so good, you know, that we didn't recognize the shot clock going down. So just one of the many things that Cheyenne did really well today.
If anyone wants to raise their hand, we'll pass the microphone around.
Karen, can you talk about that fourth quarter? It seems like you guys flipped the switch there and closed the game pretty strong.
Welcome, JJ. It's just resilience, you know. I mean, we just couldn't find our footing today, really, and some of it was the foul trouble in the first half. And kudos to our whole entire team for every contribution that was made today by every player and every coach. But we just hung in there, you know. And I really did think at some point, you know, if we would move the ball, we would start to make some open shots. And I did think that the threes opened up our game. It gave us a little bit of an opportunity to actually get the ball inside also and play inside out. But it's just a resilient effort. I mean, it's not, you know, you don't draw up a game to look like that or necessarily go down like that, but I just think that that's kind of how we're made. You know, I mean, we're not going to give up. I didn't think we gave up at USF. You know, they just played better than we did, and I thought it was a huge bounce back win for our team.
Coach, I saw you shaking your head a couple times, especially when it came to turnovers and silly plays here and there. But when it comes to close matchups like this one, how are you able to, you know, get your girls back in the game and, you know, get them hopeful again?
Well, I mean, with this team, I mean, what I've learned is that, you know, you have to give them direction. I mean, when you call a timeout or anything like that, you just try. I mean, the coaches do a great job when they sub out of talking to them while I'm coaching, and I think that's a huge part of who we are, is that the coaches are really always coaching them, and it's pretty easy to do because of our leadership. I mean, they do a lot of talking themselves, and that, if I could say one thing about the first half, it was, and they recognized it, they talked about it at halftime, that we weren't as connected as we usually are. There wasn't as much in-game conversation going on between the players, and I thought they fixed it. I mean, at this point, you know, things start to become about what's going on the board and and what type of connection you have and how can you fix things on the fly and in huddles. And as the game went on, I thought we just got better and better with that. Again, a tribute to the players, really.
And ladies, I know that Temple was fast-paced the first couple of quarters into the third, but then when it came down to the fourth quarter, it seemed like they kind of tired themselves out eventually. Was that the advantage that you guys needed to take that win today?
I would just say that they kind of like got tired because we started getting more stops and we were kind of scoring in transition, something that wasn't happening in the first half. Like they were just scoring every single time in the first half, so they were just guarding us half court. Sorry. So yeah, I would say in the second half we kept getting steals, we kept running and pushing, so that kind of got them out of their game.
Coach, we've seen Jordan do a lot of pretty incredible things here over the last 3 years. I don't think anybody's surprised by the way she played in the fourth quarter per se, but given all that she did, she was coming off a game that she had to sit out, so I guess there might have been a question in some people's minds as well as she going to be able to turn it on these last 4 or 5 minutes, and there she did it. Were you surprised at all at the way she played right down to the stretch, the steals, just the overall energy like that?
I thought that, like, Jordan's all about, first of all, she's all about winning, but also, like, I think she enjoys the team concept of what we're doing. I think she enjoys the camaraderie that she has with our team, and I think once we started feeling more connected, they all fed off of it, including her. I think she feeds off of the team's energy. And, I mean, I thought it was one of her most impactful performances, to be honest with you. Not just that, like, sometimes you need to see what someone has inside of them. It's not about the points. Like, it's not, you have to see what they're going to give to their team. And I think that our players felt that she was trying to give them everything she had today. And I think that's really critical when you start to get down the stretch of a season. Like, the players have to know what each other's going to give them, and I thought today was, that's why I said it was a really big win in a lot of ways.
Coach, touching on that, Maya had a great defensive stop in the fourth quarter that kind of triggered, I think, getting more stops with Sydney Love. Moments like that, we see Maya, we don't see her, score the most points and stuff, but she is an impactful player. What can you speak on her behalf and how she plays in practices?
Yeah, we actually talked about that at one point on the bench. Sometimes I think I don't say enough to Maya, because when you get on her, like, she responds like a mad dog. And sometimes I forget that, and I kind of got on her a little bit late in the game, and I thought she really responded positively. But, we had to play a little offense-defense today. I mean, obviously, she was struggling a little bit with some turnovers, and, AP does stretch the floor for us, so I think we were able to do that a little bit. I had to, manage Jordan's minutes a little bit. That's why I thought Cheyenne's performance was so huge. But again, I even go back to throwing lineup, that in the second quarter that hasn't played a lot of minutes and hasn't played together a lot, and it was chaotic and it felt maybe not great to everyone, but I thought it was huge because they competed. They tried really hard to try to make plays and do things that they needed to do. They kind of got our energy up defensively a little bit, so it was just a huge team win for us.
And Nina, you and your team had to navigate through some diversity today to get that win. What traits do your teammates have that allow you to keep your composure as a point guard?
I will say there was never a doubt that we were going to lose this game. The first half was just a little rough, but the talk that we had in the halftime, I thought that it was really important because every single player was saying the same thing. We kept saying how much we wanted it, and we kept saying that we just weren't connected, and we usually are. So I just felt like in the second half we didn't have control the whole time, but we kind of did because we knew that we wanted it more, and that's how I felt, at least in the huddles, and how much we were celebrating each other. Against USF, when we watched film, we noticed that it looked like we weren't there. Like, Coach kept saying that that's not us, which is true. Like, we weren't celebrating stuff, like we were kind of down, and I felt like today that was there, so it was like we're back, like we're winning this game.
Karen, I wanted to go back to the 18 win total on February 1st. Can you talk about what that means to you and what that signifies for the the step where this rebuild is at for this program?
I mean, one of the things that we have a list of things, goals. Obviously, the ultimate being we want to go to the big dance. That's everybody's ultimate goal, I think, when they play college basketball. If it's not, then not sure what they're doing. But there are some steps to that I think build and give you confidence that you can take that step, give you kind of like skins on the wall, so to say. And one of them is 20 wins. That's always been one of my team's sub goals. It was the first year I came here, that's what it was. Like, this is who you are, and this is what you have to do to be a successful basketball program. And unless we just melt, we have a solid chance to do that. And I think that is a clear sign of a successful season. It's a clear sign of a team that probably has a very good chance to play in some type of postseason play. It's just a huge mark, of success. So I think we have the 18 wins doesn't necessarily mean anything right now, other than that's how many we won last year, and we're already there. But I think it gives us something to talk about. Like, let's get to 20, and then we'll get to the next thing, And I think that's the big thing about achieving goals is like you have to have some little ones that amount to the big one, and that's it is a big little one to me. So we have a great opportunity to do that.
Nina, we've talked about Cheyenne's three, and then at times today there were combinations on the floor, players that didn't necessarily look familiar. To be successful, you really have to have everybody willing to step up. How do you see that within your team?
I would just say, it shows in practice. I'm not gonna say practice is always perfect, but it shows that people still want to play, people still want us to win. And every time, I'm not gonna it's not bench players, it's just people that don't start. Every time they're in the bench and the energy is good, I can feel it. I be watching the games and I look at them and when we score, how happy they get, how much they want us to win. So it just shows that they're locked in, they want to play and they're ready. So today was a big step for our team.
And Coach, what have you observed from that perspective of 1 through 15 being ready to go?
I think she hit it on the head. I think practice is always the indicator. Are they still preparing? Do they still have an energy in practice that's good? Or are 3 or 4 over here not wanting to be there? Do they get up extra shots even though their playing time is not? They're not being rewarded with that. And I think that this team has been doing that all year long. And they all prepared yesterday like they were all going to play, and that's kind of how we've been all year. And a lot of those number got called today, and they were ready. They knew what to do.
Adara, I want to ask if anyone in the locker room, the veterans who played here last year, were thinking at all about the Temple games that you played last year, particularly the one where they came in here and beat y'all in the latter part of February last year. That was the last time anyone's beaten y'all here at home. Were you, did that cross your mind today before you came over here?
I think that it came across people's mind, the veterans from last year, a little bit. I don't think it was a bad thing. I think it was just more of hey y'all, we know what happened last time, but at the team we are today, the team we are right now, we're not gonna we're not gonna repeat history. We're not gonna let the same thing happen. So I think it was just us making sure that we handle business and do what we need to do so we can get a different result than we got last year.
Adara, you guys outscored Temple 28-10 in the fourth quarter. It almost seems like when the pressure gets turned up, you guys just get better. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's our team in a nutshell. I think that our team just responds to adversity very well. I think that we're always up for a challenge, and I think that we're always up to fight for each other and just represent the letters on our chest with everything we have in us. So yeah, I think that just describes our team.
We believe.
Yes.